There comes a point in life when the dynamic between parents and children begins to shift. After years, sometimes decades, of nurturing, guiding, and sacrificing for them, you suddenly realize something has changed. They may no longer seek your advice. They may brush off your opinions. They may even speak to you in a dismissive or condescending way. Or worse, make you feel like a burden. And yes, it hurts. If your children have started treating you with less respect than you deserve, it's natural to feel frustrated, maybe even angry. You might feel the urge to remind them of all the times you put them first, of everything you gave up for their well-being. But here's the truth. Anger won't fix it. In fact, it often deepens the divide. Fortunately, there are far more effective, peaceful ways to reclaim your dignity and restore their respect, without arguments, without resentment, and without conflict. Today, I want to share 6 powerful actions you can take when your children stop showing you the respect you've earned. These aren't complicated strategies. They're simple mindset and behavior shifts that can completely reshape the way your children see and treat you. Some of them may challenge you, but if you stay with me to the end, you'll understand exactly how to reclaim your role as a respected, valued presence in their lives. Let's begin. Action 1. Stop chasing their approval. One of the most common mistakes parents make as they get older is trying too hard to please their children. Sound familiar? Maybe you go out of your way to accommodate them. Maybe you say yes when you'd rather say no. Maybe you put their needs ahead of your own in hopes that, if you do enough, they'll notice, appreciate you more, show you respect. But here's the hard truth. The more you chase their approval, the less they respect you. Why? Because respect isn't earned through self-sacrifice. It's earned through self-respect. When you're always bending over backward, constantly giving in, and tiptoeing around conflict, you're sending one clear message. Your needs come second. And once they believe that, it's easy for them to take you for granted. I once knew a woman named Margaret. In her younger years, she was independent and strong-willed. But over time, she let her adult children make all the decisions. She rearranged her schedule for them, kept her opinions to herself, and overlooked their disrespectful behavior. "I just want to keep the family together," she said to me once. But the opposite happened. Her children stopped listening. They didn't value her input. They saw her as someone who would always adapt, always agree, always stay silent. Margaret thought she was maintaining peace, but what she was really doing was losing her voice. If your children aren't respecting you, the first step is not to demand it. It's to stop acting like you need it. Set boundaries. Say no when necessary. Speak your truth, even if they don't like hearing it. Because the moment you start showing yourself respect, they'll begin to see you differently. And with time, their respect will return. Action 2. Don't argue. Lead by example. When your children dismiss your thoughts, interrupt you, or speak to you with disrespect, your first impulse may be to fight back, to explain, defend, remind them of all you've done. But here's something that could save you years of frustration. Arguing doesn't build respect. It breaks it. Ask yourself, when was the last time someone respected you more after you argued with them? Respect isn't earned through confrontation. It's earned through composure, through the way you carry yourself when others try to push your buttons. If you meet disrespect with anger, all you're doing is reinforcing their belief that they hold the power. Take Frank, a retired teacher who spent his life commanding respect in the classroom. But at home, his grown children ignored him. They dismissed his advice and even laughed at his attempts to correct them. Initially, he pushed back, argued, tried to reason, tried to prove he still deserved their respect. But the more he pushed, the more they pulled away. Then Frank made a quiet but powerful shift. He stopped defending himself and started listening, truly listening. He stopped trying to earn their respect with words and began embodying it through presence. He spoke calmly. He didn't try to win conversations. He simply stood in his own strength, and his children noticed. Slowly, they began treating him differently. They saw someone who wasn't desperate for their approval, who didn't need to be right, just respected. So if your children are showing you disrespect, don't try to fight them for it. Show them what self-respect looks like. Hold your ground with grace. Speak with confidence. Never stoop to their level. Because when you lead with quiet strength, they will feel it. And over time, they will follow your example. If you found these insights helpful so far, comment number 2 below to let us know you're still with us. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you never miss a future video. Your support allows us to keep creating meaningful content to uplift, inform, and empower. Now, let's move on to the next strategy. Action 3. Withdraw your emotional dependence. One of the hardest lessons to learn as you grow older is that you can't depend on your children for emotional fulfillment. You may love them deeply, and you may want them to love and respect you in return. But the moment they sense that you need them to feel valued, the power in the relationship shifts. Here's the reality. People, even your own children, respect those who are emotionally independent. When you rely on them for validation, affection, or attention, it puts pressure on them. And instead of feeling grateful, they start feeling burdened. They might pull away. They might start treating you with impatience or even irritation. And the more you chase their love, the less freely they give it. I once knew a woman named Helen. She was a kind-hearted mother who had given everything to her children. As they grew older and got busy with their own lives, she found herself waiting by the phone, hoping they'd call. When they didn't, she called them instead. Often, too often. She reminded them how much she missed them, how she wished they would visit more. But instead of bringing them closer, it pushed them away. They started seeing her calls as an obligation instead of something they looked forward to. Then one day, Helen did something different. She stopped waiting. She stopped calling first. Instead, she started focusing on herself, picking up new hobbies, going out with friends, taking care of her own happiness. And something surprising happened. Her children started calling more. They started respecting her time, seeing her as someone with a full life of her own. The lesson is simple. The less you depend on your children to make you feel needed, the more they will start valuing your presence. When you show them that you can stand strong on your own, they will start respecting you, not out of obligation, but because they genuinely admire the life you've built for yourself. Action 4. Set boundaries and enforce them. One of the biggest reasons children lose respect for their parents is because the parents let them. If you allow your children to talk to you disrespectfully, dismiss your opinions, or treat you as if your time and feelings don't matter, they will keep doing it. Not because they are bad people, but because people, especially family, will always treat you the way you allow them to. Setting boundaries doesn't mean cutting off your children or creating conflict. It means calmly and firmly deciding what kind of behavior you will and will not accept. And more importantly, it means enforcing those boundaries when they are crossed. I remember a man named Robert, a retired businessman who had spent his life running a company with discipline and confidence. But when it came to his adult children, he struggled. They interrupted him when he spoke, dismissed his concerns, and even criticized the way he lived his life. At first, he tolerated it. He told himself it wasn't worth the fight. But over time, he realized that every time he stayed silent, he was teaching them that their behavior was acceptable. So one day, Robert changed his approach. When his son interrupted him, he calmly said, "I'll continue speaking when you're ready to listen." When his daughter dismissed his opinion, he simply replied, "You don't have to agree with me, but I expect you to respect me." And when they continued to push his limits, he made it clear, if they couldn't treat him with basic respect, he wouldn't be spending time with them. And you know what happened? They started listening. At first, they resisted. But over time, they realized their father wasn't backing down. They saw that he valued himself enough to demand respect. And because of that, they started giving it to him. If your children don't respect you, it's time to ask yourself, are you allowing it? Because if you don't set boundaries, they won't set them for you. And if you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Action 5. Stop giving without appreciation. One of the quickest ways to lose respect is to keep giving to people who don't appreciate it. And as parents, we do this more often than we realize. We give our time, our energy, our support. Even when it's not acknowledged, even when it's taken for granted, even when we're met with nothing but entitlement. But here's the truth. When you give to someone who doesn't appreciate it, you don't build love. You don't build respect. You build expectation. They stop seeing your kindness as something valuable and start seeing it as something they are entitled to. And the moment you stop, they don't feel grateful. They feel inconvenienced. I once knew a man named George, a father who had always been generous with his children. He helped them financially whenever they needed it, dropped everything to assist them, and even rearranged his life to accommodate their needs. But instead of gratitude, he was met with complaints. They didn't say thank you. They expected more. And the worst part? When he finally needed their help, they were too busy. Then one day, George made a change. He stopped overextending himself. He stopped offering help before it was even asked. And most importantly, he started saying no when he needed to. At first, his children were frustrated. They didn't understand why he wasn't bending over backward for them anymore. But over time, something shifted. They started valuing his time. They started appreciating his efforts. Because suddenly, they realized that his generosity wasn't unlimited. It was a gift, not a guarantee. If you feel like your children don't respect your time, your effort, or your kindness, take a step back. Ask yourself, are you giving more than you should? And if that's the case, ask yourself, what would happen if you simply stopped? Because when you show others that your generosity is tied to mutual respect, they begin to treat it that way. Action 6. Build a life beyond your children. One of the most effective ways to regain your children's respect is to demonstrate that your happiness doesn't depend on them. As parents, it's only natural to center much of our lives around our children. But as time passes and roles shift, clinging to that dynamic can backfire. If you've spent your life putting them first, they may begin to see you as someone with no identity or interests of your own. People tend to respect those who lead full, purposeful lives, those who have their own passions, goals, and sources of joy. If your children sense that you rely on them for entertainment, affirmation, or meaning, they may feel pressured, or worse, lose respect altogether. I remember a woman named Eleanor, a widow in her late 70s. After her husband passed away, she channeled all her energy into her children's lives, checking in constantly, offering unsolicited advice, and expecting them to fill the emotional space her husband once held. But instead of drawing them closer, it pushed them away. They called less, visited infrequently, and grew more distant. Eleanor felt more alone than ever. Then she made a powerful choice. She joined a book club. She began traveling with friends. She started volunteering at a local community center. Most importantly, she stopped revolving her life around her children. And something remarkable happened. Her children started reaching out more. They were interested in what she was doing. They admired her independence. They respected her again. If you feel disrespected by your children, ask yourself, do they see you as someone who is thriving, living a meaningful life? Or do they see someone just waiting for attention? Because once you start truly living, not merely existing, they'll begin seeing you through a new lens. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, comment number 6 below to let us know you're here. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Your support allows us to keep creating thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Final thoughts. Respect isn't something you can force from your children. It's something you earn through your actions, your boundaries, and the life you build for yourself. If they've started treating you with less care, less consideration, or less respect, don't waste your energy getting angry. Redirect that energy. Shift your approach. Stop chasing their approval. The less you seek it, the more they'll offer it. Lead by example. Your calm strength and self-respect speak louder than arguments. Withdraw emotional dependence. Independence earns admiration, not guilt. Set firm boundaries. People will treat you only as well as you require. Stop giving without appreciation. Generosity without gratitude breeds entitlement. And most importantly, build a life beyond them. A full life earns deep respect. If you begin to practice these changes, something powerful will happen. Your children will start to see you differently, not as someone longing for their attention, but as someone who naturally commands respect through their presence and choices. And in time, that respect won't be given out of obligation, but out of genuine admiration, not because you asked for it, but because you lived in a way that inspired it. Thank you for being with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one insight that stood out to you and how you plan to apply it in your own life. Your voice matters to us, and reading your stories keeps us motivated to continue. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this. Your support truly helps us grow and serve you better. Thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.